Hey guys, welcome to another voiceover. For this month, I have an idea. I did the the Congress Tifa piece, and I was thinking of doing another one. And who would be so fitting in that role but Tsunade? Um, I was thinking since she is kind of the fifth Hokage, it would be a fun spin to do like a modern version, like a Madam President Hokage or something like that. Yeah, this is the concept I have for that. Alright, so I've already got the base down. I sped things up by completing the background or, well, attempt at completing it. So this is like a rough background concept. I took like a photo of the presidential office. Um, Splashed it on there, a 3D model of a desk with some texture overlay on top to give a more interesting texture and stuff like that. And I went ahead and gave it a bit of a rough shading and shadow on Tsunade already. And actually not sure whether I'm gonna stick with the same color palette for her suit, so I might play around with it after, but this is the rough pose, and her hand over here, I was thinking she could be holding glasses. I think she would look quite good with glasses, so um, that's the idea for that. And also I will kind of go in here and remove the US flag here, maybe put like a Leaf Village inspired flag. I'm not sure if it'll work out because I did try it before and it didn't really work as well as I thought it would, so I'll probably figure something out there. Um, but yeah, that's the idea. So let's go ahead and try, I mean, start refining. So this voiceover will probably turn into a semi ASMR again. Alright, so I'm going for the sexy um, power suity lady look. So the inspiration is once again, I don't know, but there is this porn actress that did a like a Sarah Palin parody porn. I've heard about it. I remember a lot of people were talking about it when Sarah Palin, or was that her name? Um, but yeah, she is kind of a reference I'm using because she's got that whole vibe going on, so it's perfect. Alrighty, and yeah, I'm just looking at my reference sheet. I did like a little reference sheet for this piece. Um, Funny enough, I've got a photo of Obama in the office, and I really like the lighting, so I'm kind of using that lighting as reference for this piece. He looks so... I just like the lighting, so hopefully I can replicate it or apply it here. Okay, I think we should get started. Enough talk. Okay. How come? Oh, here we go. So I've already got a base going. This was the sketch that I sketched out for this piece. I think I can actually remove that. So it's a little bit of a skip. So I'm just gonna start by shading it up, and I'm also trying to think back. There was a certain vibe I was trying to go for this piece. So I'm just trying to think about what I want to achieve. Now that's something that I think as you do a lot of digital painting, digital painting, you kind of start visualizing a lot more. At least that's how I feel about my process in this. I remember uh, before I didn't used to think this much before I approach a piece, but now I'm like thinking a lot more about it and also planning a lot more. So the chest part I think is just a little bit challenging. I'm going for high contrast, um, but I'm not sure if I should tone it down. There's a specific cleavage look that I want to achieve. Well, Heli Tsunade is very busty, so even if I go a little too ham on, oh gosh, on this part, I don't think it'll be too much problem. So, it's kind of similar to the Tifa piece I did, at least how the suit is gonna be cut. Maybe a little bit more revealing, cause, well, Tsunade is, she's known for her bustiness. And also, I'm not too sure about the suit color. Um, I was trying to kind of go for the Tsunade color palette, kind of similar to her original outfit color, which is like a pale gray. Save real quick. Yeah, pale gray. But, you know, maybe she'll look better in another color. I think I'll just try to render this out, and, you know, if I need to change color, it won't be too much trouble since I've already got shading to it. And I'm gonna try my best to shade this properly now. Maybe I'll have more of a, let's have more of like a warmer tone here. So the light source is towards the upper left. Upper left. And the suit lapels might be a little too large here. So I'm gonna just reduce it. After working on the suit, I will most likely try to find some good suit references. Actually, yes, good suit references. And use it as texture. It's always good to add a little bit of that afterwards. Actually, I might, you know what? I think the bust need to be just a little tighter. Make it a bit tighter here. And I'll just emphasize the bust size using the rest of the suit, especially down here. Oh, wait, hold on. Okay. And I'm just going to sketch out the folds of the suit carefully. I think I need to paint more suits so that it's easier for me to kind of paint out the structure and the texture for it. Since I find suits to be a little bit harder to work on because it's so structured, I oftentimes need like a reference for it. And this is I've painted suits a few times, but I still think I need more practice painting them. Because I rely heavily on references for suits. Yeah, because it's such a different structure. Even I would think dresses are slightly easier to paint because it's more flowy and organic, and suits is just very structured. Something that I suppose is a little bit more challenging. Okay, so just kind of looking back and forth here. Let me add a little bit of, oh, a little bit of a warm tone. Um, let's see if you know what? Let's test, black outline. Uh, Black outline for the lapels of the top and see how that works. I think this might not be as formal looking if I do this detail, but I was hoping it would kind of make her design a little bit more similar to her outfit. Sometimes usually I will try to use elements from uh, the original outfit design. I might need to actually have this arm on a separate layer because if not, it will be hard to kind of play around with the shape. So I do want to have a bit of perspective when it comes to Tsunade. So a little bit in the of a top-down view. And as for her dress, I think her outfit is slightly dark navy, like with a blue navy undertone. I think this could be a series. I mean, if this piece does well, I might do the other Naruto girls. It's just a fun little spin on them. And maybe I could even do like some smexy comic with this concept. And also I noticed there's a interesting niche of like older women with younger guys. That's interesting niche. Let's might need to have a bit of reference for this so I can do a good job with it. But yeah, this is gonna be a rough blocking of Tsunade. Let me borrow some of the colors from up there. I do want to keep the intense red tone of the leg here. Yes, let's keep that. And as always, women in suits look really good with stocking and garter belts. It just adds a extra bit of classiness but sexiness, especially in a presidential office. I'm just gonna do a rough blocking for the leggings there. And I'm gonna use the colors on the top, her top, for the bottom. Okay, I need to fix that perspective too and remove the chair in the background, see. Oh yeah, this was the original idea, but I didn't really like how it looked. Where is... Okay, there it is. That is the ground layer. So I will work on this and kind of try to remove the chair. But yeah, I'll have to go back here and remove it. Oh, I'll just do like a really... Oh god, it's so messy. Okay, well, we'll have to deal with this for now. You know, I will, this is just a fill-in. I just want to, let's see, what color should I go with? Darker or brighter? Let's just do like a filler color. No, I'll make it light, make it darker, yes. I'm just going to do like a slight dark color there because it was kind of a little bit hard to distinguish the leg. So now that I paint over it, you see that I'm kind of losing the initial brightness, so we'll just go ahead and bring that back basically. I can do it slowly, so we'll do that for now. And I suppose it's a bit more formal if the skirt isn't like a leather skirt, but I really like leather skirt texture. Maybe I can just add some seam detail, make it look a little bit more fabric, have a bit more fabric texture. Okay, I suppose I will go with the lining here. Okay, where is... Let's go with this. And we'll go with a button here. So I was thinking of having like a rim light down here. Let's go with a slightly blue undertone for the shadow with some warm lights towards the bottom area. Hopefully it works out. I mean the color palette. I'm gonna remove the hand layer because I want to get a wrong layer. Get a more precise look at the shoulder on this side and paint the structure of the suit. Interesting enough, I find that even if you're busting a suit, the line for your bust is very straight. Well, yes, the female silhouette is very straight. There's not a lot of contouring of the breast, even if the character's busty, which was very interesting because, you know, if I didn't look at reference, I'll probably create a silhouette for the boobies. But even if you're busty, once you wear a suit, it's very streamlined, surprisingly. Like this, just like straight down without any form of silhouette, just very streamlined like this. And I was also trying to see how it would look with like a... I'm not sure why you would wear another jacket over your suit jacket, but I was testing out to see, you know, how it would look with this. Bring up the hair. Merge down. Coat. I'm still trying to figure out like how I'm gonna approach this green thing. Green jacket. Like what style? Should I go for modern or like what kind of jacket I can do with this? I'll probably overlay it a bit. Maybe I won't do it. We'll see. But it has to have to come up with some way to incorporate her iconic green thing. I mean, it could be just like, maybe it could be like hanging or mm, or she could be holding it in her hand or something. I'm not sure. Well, that's the idea that I have to incorporate it somehow. I'll do the lining after I finish working on the blazer. The small details will come after. So we will flip the canvas, cause you know we gotta flip the canvas every now and then to refresh our eyes. And after that, I'm basically eyeing the chest because you know oftentimes it ends up being crooked the first time around, so I have to flip the canvas, have a proper look, and adjust as I go. I'm also going to start by adjusting the lighting here. Okay. Okay, now I would like to adjust the color palette just a little bit with her not quite with the top, the blazer here. So I want to see how it will look if the suit was a bit more on the blue side in terms of the shade, the tone of the suit. So let's test it out here. Might be a little too much though. Blue and yellow. Tone it down a bit. Okay, let me apply the effects to the layers affected. Back to the bust area. I'm going to clean up the remaining lapel areas. Let's make it a little bit more on the yellow side. Kind of fixing up the shape a bit more. Still not sure what type of bra to go for, but let's go for the classic black bra underneath. Black is always safe, a safe choice. I might cover it up a little bit. Make it, just slightly more covered up. Ever so slightly. And we'll cover this side up just ever so slightly as well. And we will work on that neck. Let's take a bit of this color. Bit of this color. And we'll do just a slightly duller color. I mean, slightly cooler tone. Let's paint out the collarbone. Use the lasso tool. And I'm gonna go for like a darker shadow around here. Let's go with this color. Might have to work on that neck a bit more. Let's do this side. We'll probably come back to the neck a little bit after. Now onto this side. Bring this down a bit more. Really get that busty feeling. Actually, I might exaggerate her bust a bit more just to really sell it. But at least, the main part is slightly covered up, so I'm gonna test out the limit here. Test out the limit by pulling out the silhouette a bit more. If I pull it out, I might have to kind of increase the silhouette of the shoulders. Let's do this side now. Pull out that silhouette. That might be a bit too much, but let's kind of clean this part up first and add a bit of shadow around here. Yeah, I think let's reduce it a bit. Let's take it down a bit. it down a bit, and let's clean up the blazer here. Alright, so that's the basic shape. Let's go ahead and make this part just a little bit bigger. Maybe make the window, you know, a bit smaller, but make this a bit longer. Nope. Okay, I was just testing it out. I'm just testing out the silhouetting. Let's bring this. Let me merge down, and I'm going to bring in the shoulders a bit. Let's go for that. See if I can exaggerate or diminish the shoulders a bit. Let's bring this in. Make this go a little bit into the perspective. Bring the shoulders in. I want to give her a nice and form-fitting shoulder padding. I might end up changing some of the proportions too. And the posture too. Just to fit the perspective, the up and down perspective a little more, or exaggerated, that's a better word for it. So I'll probably edit this to be just a little bit more from up and down point of view to sell that perspective. Maybe even bring this up a bit more. Let's go ahead onto this part. Ooh, actually I'm wondering. I just had a thought. What if I have one of her ponytails over her shoulder? Anyways, I'll test it out later. Okay, back to the arm. I'm actually going to warp her arm a bit. Let's go ahead and tuck it in a bit more. A little bit darker. Sketch out a bit of the ripples, I mean folds for the sleeve. Close that. Let's take this color. So I'm just slowly reshaping the sleeve a bit. Let's go ahead and add a little bit more silhouette around this area here. And I'm going to I will reposition the arm a bit so that I can have some extra space to kind of give to her arm to put around her hips. Add a bit of shadow here. Let's add a bit more shadow underneath the sleeve and take this. Oh, hold on. Take this color. Let's add a bit more warmth to it. Bring this warm tone towards the bottom of the sleeve. And I'm just going to darken that part. Let's bring this color. I'm just trying to add some subtle shades of blue in there. Subtle shades of blue and warm tone. Trying to remember where to position some of these folds for the sleeve. Was it here? Just gonna add a tiny bit of shadow towards that area. Just trying to paint this fold right here. Might need to adjust this hand a bit later. Okay, back to this layer right here. Let's render the top out a bit. We'll just do a little bit of everything, a bit of here and there, and we'll also try our best to spot mistakes and stuff like that. So let's do a little not shadow, highlight on this spot right here, and let's just make it a little, actually no, I'll do a second pass of highlight later. Right now I'm just gonna focus on subtlety, the subtle shades, different color palettes. Add a bit of this color. And then fade into this really prominent fold here that contours her chest. And we'll just slowly blend this in here. I think I will bring the button on this side actually. I think I'm starting to like painting power suits on female characters. I still find it a little difficult to paint suits on male characters. It is definitely structured, and I prefer painting more organic shapes, and suits are very, I find them a little technical. Okay, let's go ahead and select the bottom area here, and we're gonna give it a little bit of a warmer tone here. Probably not, maybe, yeah, towards, let's make it a little bit like that, and then contrast it with a bit of cooler tone. Working those subtle shades in there. I'm just gonna clean up my shape, the shape of the blazer, with a bit of perspective. So this is gonna be the waist. I'm just gonna mark her waist here. Since it is in perspective, I will adjust the shading. Probably need to also bring this up since it's perspective, so I'm just going to round out the hips, almost even, kind of contouring the hip bone a bit too while I'm at it. if I accentuate the curvature and also accentuate the perspective. Oh, actually, let's do it like this. Just lining the seam and just trying to figure out the proper volume for this. Here too. If that is the case, I will also need to exaggerate the curvature of the leg. And naturally the curvature of the legging. It needs to be a lot more rounded now to match the perspective. Go back to the top now and we'll just adjust the silhouette of the blazer here now. We'll round it out the same way we did the other side. Or even what if we did something like this? Let's fix the silhouette a bit. Just going to adjust the coverage here. And go back to the bottom layer with the skirt, and we'll just keep refining it, and also going for a little bit of a thicker vibe down here. I can give Tsunade a bit more curves. Good thing she is, you know, very curvaceous lady. So I can go ahead and do that. Take this color. I wanted to add some reflective light there, but I have to adjust the lighting to able to sell that idea. So I'm gonna have to bring out the highlight on this side here. I can kind of darken the knee shadow here on the legging here. I'm just gonna emphasize this leg by bringing it forward with very intense highlight. And I can even almost fade this leg into the background. Before, after, darken the rest of the leg, fade into the background. Blend some of these areas. Let's blend this out. Gonna try to blend this part out. Blend the fold of the skirt. I might need to exaggerate. I want to actually see how it look with a bit of a slit here. And let's just keep it simple. Okay, I think the shape is looking good there now. Let's go ahead and flip the canvas. Okay, in general the shape is not bad. Maybe just adjust it a bit. I think I might need to, I'm gonna cut the legs onto a separate part, separate layer, because I need to change or edit the skirt. And also maybe nope. Okay. I was like maybe I test out the leg positioning, but nope. I tried it. Didn't like it. Cross leg would look the best for for this pose. So we'll just keep it at that. And also I had to fix the shape of the skirt. You know, don't want the hips to look deformed on one side. Let's test out by bringing this side out. I'm just reshading this part a bit, kind of trying to exaggerate some parts and just checking the pose and making sure that it's more or less even. Okay, so that leg's going up, which means let's tilt this hip lower, have this hip a little higher. At least that's what well, I'm just thinking probably this would be the case, hopefully. Mm, okay, let's do like, oh no, hold on. Do a little bit of a lighting here. A little bit of a hip movement here. Mm, yeah, let's go with that. Bring it over a bit. Okay, I'm gonna have to play around with that part a bit. I'm going to actually keep the leg and the skirt separate. Alright, let's move on. So, okay. Let me just play around with the, top positioning now. Probably actually no, I can't make the skirt darker. It might be a bit too dark if I do that. We can maybe bring up the contrast for the, top. Let's make that a little brighter. Make this a little brighter and then make the arm a little brighter. I think that should work, and I will also, oh, hold on, let's cut that arm layer, put it on a separate layer. Since the suit is quite structured, we can get away with just having the arm on separate layers. I'm just going to blend this part out. Guess we'll keep this part a little darker. Let's do that, and we'll just clean up the selection here. Clean up the shape. I'll just kind of look back and forth at the small preview and what I have here. Always kind of have an eye on the small preview, because that's kind of the general vibe we're gonna see at a glance. So we have to make sure that the small preview is looking right. Let's take a bit of this. Just gonna add a tiny bit of highlight the thickness of the lapels. I don't even know if that's what it's called. I'm just calling it lapels. Next up is just working on the neck portion. Let's bring a bit of cool toning here. Gonna highlight the neck tendon in this area. Oh, might be a bit too dark. Let's zoom in here a bit. And I'll just blend this in. Let's go ahead and kind of correct the curvature here. Or actually, I might just kind of test out different shapes of curvature for the chest. Alright. Okay, so I'll be working on the face, give it a rough shape off camera, and I will bring you guys back shortly. Welcome back, guys. So I end up doing a bit more rendering, fixed up the background a bit, um, basi basically fleshing out some of the lesser details and modifying the flag a little bit for fun, um, and refined her skin tone, her chest, her outfit. Also, I did end up changing the pose for her hand. I was looking at references for um, holding the glasses, and so that's the one I settled on. Yes. So I'm going to be working on the hand now and the glasses. And also, apart from the refining that I did off camera, I also did like a rough lighting add-on of what I have in mind for the end result. I would like to add this in later. Um, so yeah, that's just there to give me a rough idea of what I want to render out, and also probably gonna do a bit more work on her in general. It's getting there, but I think there's still work to be done. But yeah, this probably took maybe 6 hours, 6-ish hours, give or take. So yeah, let's get started on the next portion. Where is my arm layer? So I got my arm layer, already got my base for the hand. And of course, I got the reference right next to me because this is a tricky pose, and there's a certain elegance to the pose for the hand. But usually what I do for the hand is just I like to line the hand first with the outline, sort of like line art, and with general shading, so I can kind of do it step by step. And after I create a base for it, I like to start refining so I get a bit closer to the reference and really try to look at how the pose is each individually and stuff like that. For when I first start, if I use reference, I'll just do like a rough observation that most likely is not super accurate, but it kind of has the vibe that I want, and then slowly we'll just refine it. And a good thing that we have the different parts of her refined a little more, so that makes the hand a little easier because I can just borrow color scheme from what I have already put down on the other parts of her. So yeah, I'm going to add a bit of warm tone on the fingers. So the thumb goes all the way up here. So let me just go ahead and line that, as well as line the wrinkles and a bit of the shadow. Let's get a bit of that shadow right underneath the thumb. And I think if I paint this type of, well, I've painted um, this type of pose before for hand, I think a few times, not exactly similar. So I also kind of refreshing my memories and basically getting a feel of it and adding that to my library so that next time it'll be easier. I might not need a reference, but it's always good to have it, even if you have a good idea of how it's supposed to look. It's always good to just use it anyways. Because if I want to get like a more or less realistic result, the best way to learn or to make sure it's looking like that is just to have a bit of reference. So yeah. So my hand is coming along. Just gonna line rough fingernails, which gonna have to be a red color nail polish. Just bit by bit we are going to refine, and I think I will be adding a bit of translucency to her hand, so gonna start by lining rim light. Oh wait, hold on. Delete. So basically that's gonna be my guide. I want that finger to be rim light, focus rim light, so we'll just slowly add a bit more intensity to some of the fingers that is a bit more in the distance. And probably also they need to be a little bit more intense as well. I'm gonna go ahead and do a little bit of auto contrast, make it a bit more high in contrast. Add the glasses now. I'll just do a kind of trying to figure out like how I'm gonna draw the glasses. Maybe we'll do frame on the top only. And clean up the bottom part. Oh. Make the bottom part a bit thinner. I was thinking of doing upper heavy frame, and on the bottom it wouldn't be as heavy. I'm just gonna go ahead and correct. Correct it. And I'll just be doing silhouette for now. This part should be pretty thin, so I'll just use the lasso tool. Hold on, that might be a bit too thin. And I'm just gonna do the end of the glasses. Yep, and also cleaning up the surplus. It's just gonna be a little bit of curve, but not too much. Now, yeah, glasses are not my thing. In fact, mechanical objects, I tend to just use photos for those, or 3D objects. But hey, I guess I'm trying for the glasses since, it's not too complicated. and clean up the frames a bit. So I'm going to create a bit of masking for the glasses and um, basically making sure that, oh, there we go. I'm going to remove the lock so I can move the glasses around, and based on the reference it's actually a little lower, but I think I can probably put it around here and it still looks like she's holding it, so that should be fine. But the reference, the glass is a bit lower the way the lady's holding the glasses. I think we can make this work. It kind of makes sense. So now that everything is a little cleaner, I'm just going to move the glasses in place, or even maybe warp it a bit to make it fit. And after that, go back in here. That's a little strange. Okay. So let's say that's what we're aiming for. I'll just like go by steps. So rendered it out a little bit. Going back to the sleeve part. Since I've already got a fair amount of color down, I can just go ahead and render this out. And I'm just going to fix the silhouette and basically have a look, incorporate colors that is already part of the character on the other parts of her. So let's go back to the arm and we'll kind of refine this a bit more. So I end up reworking the suit, the blazer, in terms of color. So there's a bit more blue in there, and I'll just go back into each part so that I can make sure that the suit is looking the best. It does feel like there's a bit of contrast missing near this part of the suit. So let's just go ahead and do that. Delete. I'm gonna go ahead, add a bit of warm tone here. I mean, not warm tone, sorry. Highlight and blend that in. Now go back to the arm. Get the arm, and I'm just gonna add the shadow again. Clean up the arm a bit, add some shadow. Let's go ahead and round out the bottom part. I'm gonna take a bit of this color, and actually not that color, let's borrow it from here. Just wanna line the very edge, very top edge of the sleeve area. Let's go ahead and do like 2 little buttons because probably look a little bit more logical that way. I think that should be it. Hopefully it makes sense. And last but not least, let's go back to each of the fingers. And add a last minute highlight. Maybe around here, copy and just add the highlight. I think the highlight actually works in this situation. So after we added the highlight, I believe that a bit of rendering is needed just to clean things up a bit. I'm feeling a little bit of blue here. I'll just highlight the top of each finger with that blue. And just blend the highlight in with the hand. I'm also gonna take this time to refine the pinky. Let's go ahead and extend the wrinkles. Okay, and we'll just keep refining it a bit. I'm going to just make the preview a little bigger on my other screen so I can have a better look. Let's take a bit of this color and add it to the pinky. I'm just kind of looking back and forth a bit, a few times. I'm just going to clean up the hand a bit. Now back to the highlight. Blend it in a bit more. Let's add some highlight on the buttons. maybe a little bit around the buttons, creating some pulling texture. Don't want to do it uh, too obviously because kind of ends up making the fabric look a little weird. So I just tone it down a bit. Let me do a little seam here. I don't know, maybe it'll help. We'll just bring the highlight down. I'm just kind of adding a little fold there, but I don't know if that works or not. Doesn't really work. Doesn't add enough, in my opinion. But hey, as long as it doesn't look weird, we're gonna keep that paint over. Oops. So it's not a big change, but it just adds a little bit more to the character. I'll go back to the glasses frames. I mean, if I flip this, will the glasses look weird? I hope it's not gonna look weird, but we'll see. Okay, well, it did end up looking a little weird. Needs some fixing for sure. I think this side just needs a little more length. I actually decreased the length on this side before because it was a bit too long, so now I have to bring back a bit of that length because we need it. Otherwise, it's gonna look a little bit too small compared to the other side. So with that, we're good. And the rest of the time, I'm just gonna use to clean up the glasses. And this is why I don't. Oftentimes, I just use a photo because it's a lot faster and cleaner too. But I think you know, doing it by manually has its charms too. And after that, I'm just gonna go ahead and add a tiny bit of highlight. Let's give it like a little bit of that. What's that material? I have no idea what it's called, but there's like little dots in that material. And all those glasses you see cougars wear, yeah, that's the type. And let's go with a steel. What's this thing called? Steel frame? There's not a lot of room for highlight, but let's add some shine. I'm just gonna have, actually, nope. You're gonna go back to being black because it didn't really work very well. And this part, let's make it a little bit smaller. I'm gonna go ahead and add a bit of a brighter highlight. Just adding some smaller details. add some highlights in there. Maybe a little bit of highlight here. Add a bit of blue. Oh, I'm just adding a little bit of everything. Go back to the hand. Let's work on that nail. Need to unlock the layer. Let's add a little bit of blue. And really keeping the intensity in terms of color and contrast around the two fingers that's further away from us to create that translucent look. Okay, last but not least, let's do a little auto contrast. And yep, Photoshop basically made this a lot more contrast filled. Just trying to find the right word, so stumble on my words at times. Well, since the hand is quite intense in color, let me grab some of that old color from her top, and I'm just gonna use a little bit on the fingers and hand. Let's do a little auto contrast. Oh my gosh. Well, I guess not enough contrast for the Photoshop. Photoshop think this is not enough, guys. Well, I suppose I have to add a bit more contrast. I'll just keep adding contrast until Photoshop think it's okay. That's usually my guide. I guess this will have to do. Need a bit more shadow around this parts of the sleeve. Let's go back to the top. Let's do a little auto contrast. Well, Photoshop didn't really change much there, but let's do a little auto contrast for the arms, and Photoshop gave me a little bit more contrast, which is nice. I can just use this. And while I'm doing that, I can also do a little edit. Do a little edit of the folds. Sometimes I have a habit of not finishing what I'm saying. I'm sorry. I'm feeling very focused, so it's gonna be a lot of missing parts when I talk. I think sometimes I listen back on my voiceover, and sometimes what I'm saying don't make any sense because I don't finish my sentences. Okay. I think that should do it. Let's merge down. And then I'll do another intensity or highlight. We'll just do this so that since I blended out the highlight previously, we can have a bit more highlight. It's like a extra bit of highlight, you know? I'll just keep layering on the highlight. Merge down now. Let's go to the top layer. Let me go ahead and rotate this back. Alrighty, time to work on the top now. Actually, no, before that, work on the bust layer. Okay, so I'm going to just start adding extra tiny bit of detail. And I'm doing this on a separate layer so that I can always go back if I feel like it's not working, because sometimes my paint over isn't always good. I'm going to remove the hair there so I can see what is going on the other side, and this way I think I can fix things. Fix it while I'm at it. Let's go ahead and line the edge of the lapels with a highlight color. I need to clean some of this up too because there's some extra parts. Okay, let's go back. I think I could add a bit more highlight here. Gonna go ahead and fill in the lining again, since this part is important. So I'm going to just also clean up the positioning a bit. After I'm done, I'm gonna merge down and adjust this part just to go with the other side more. I'm going to take a bit of shadow and line the chest too. Probably do a bit of design on the bra later. Gonna take a bit of shadow here. Line the lapels. I'm just going to check back on the edge. Okay, let's add a bit of shadow to the edge to emphasize on the highlight and add a bit more highlight. Okay, so I got that side. Now for the opposite side. Probably gonna be pretty similar. Just going to highlight the edge there. And I'll just clean up this part here. Add a rim light. Bring it down with the rim light. Bring the rim light, curve it, and blend it all the way down into a nice curve. And add the highlight. I'm just looking back and forth a little. Add highlight to the edge there to emphasize on volume. And now I can go ahead and work on the top layer, which is this part right here. So I'm just going to render out this part. Cleaning up some of these areas. And fixing the flow a bit. Bring this down. And I'm going to actually have this come this way on the other side. Kind of a design that takes after her original kimono design. trying to basically keep a little bit, bring in a bit of the original design into the suit. Not sure if it works all too well, but I might end up changing the color a little later. For now, I just want to test it out. Sometimes it works, you know. Sometimes the twisting outfit works, but sometimes incorporating original design doesn't work as well. In this case, I think it might not work too well, but I don't know, I'm just gonna try a bunch of stuff and hopefully it'll end up working. Really trying to make this part work. Okay, so I'm going to have most of this side be quite bright with rim light. Do a little button right here. And I'm going to line this. Well, let's do a little before and after. Probably doesn't look that great. I'm just gonna remove a bit of the paint over and redo this part. Mm, nope. Let's try something else. Let's do this. And we'll just do some simple folds. We'll just do a very soft transition. Let's go over here. Clean it up a bit. Let's I am losing quite a bit of intensity if I leave it like that, so I think I will have to add, let's add a little bit more highlight towards the bottom area of the blouse. This way I think I can maintain a bit more of that intense lighting. Well, hoping that it will work out for the best, but we'll just test it out. I think what I'll do is do a little before, put it up top, and do a little texture with it by just applying it at a certain opacity. And then what I'll do is rotate the canvas and check it out. Okay, so I'm losing a bit more contrast, I think. Yeah, I am definitely losing contrast by doing this. Compared to this side, the contrast over here is not enough. But before that, I want to fix this part right here. It's a little rough. Let's go back to here and I'll address the contrast issue. So, actually, hold on. Let's do this instead. Let's do a little bit of a rim light on this side, and we will add intensity on this side. Yet this is still not enough. Actually, is it enough? Let's go ahead and, you know what? Let's go ahead and paint in a bit of shadow. I'll just add, nope, 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 nope. I don't like how that went. Need a bit more shape on this side. I'm gonna merge everything down first, and then we will do that by warping. I'm going to clean up the fuzziness around this side first, and then I will take the whole part, the chest part, copy it, and we will adjust it manually. And I'm going to also increase the contrast for it. Block it in and adjust it. Bring the highlight up. I'll probably add a bit of shadow here. That's where the shadow for the hand is gonna be applied, like so. Merge down. I mean, how would it look if I add a little bit of shadow underneath? That would, let's test out the opacity for this. I will also need to adjust this part a bit. me add some shadow underneath. Oh, okay, gotta flip it back. Flip back the canvas now. I might need to reposition a bit. Reposition this side here, or even basically just add a bit more length, more fabric to that side. Testing out just testing out the top. Maybe I need to extend this a bit more. Maybe with a bit more fabric. Nope. I guess I'll undo that. I'll just go a little straighter. And I'll take this part once again and make it a little bigger. Gotta match the other side. So now that the side is a little bigger, we're just going to go back to the arm and adjust it accordingly. Now go back to the bust part and also adjust it accordingly by adding the shadow. Just gonna lower the opacity for the shadow after. Okay. I think after I start applying this, it's gonna look a little bit more cohesive. I think I should start by planning it out already, so I'll just go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and clean it up a bit. Maybe even add a tiny highlight here. I think after I do this, I think I should name this lighting. It's gonna be my lighting edit. I'm probably gonna need to add a bit more shadow here. Well, I'm thinking about it and probably make this part just a little bit more darker and even around the highlighted affected part. I'll just make the contrast a lot more intense. So probably gonna do do so here as well. Bit more darker on that side. And then more highlight towards this side. I'm gonna be using filters here, so actually let me bring this filter all the way up here so I can add it onto the hand as well. Before, after, so this is just a little bit more adjustment in the highlight area. Okay, let's do a little bit of work on the skirt. I'm just going to remove the lighting layer, lighting edits, and we will move on to her skirt. I'm going to create a new layer for the skirt. And just going to see what I can do to bring a bit more detail in terms of fabric detail, because basically it looks good, but I think it could be better. I would like to see if I can make the fabric look a little bit more organic, or just add some folds towards the seam area of the fabric. Oh yes, and also I think her outfit has a bluish undertone, so actually I'm trying to think which undertone to use and where to position them. So let's go with this. Might be a bit too blue, maybe towards that area. And also thinking which leg is the one that kind of raises a bit more than the other. I think it's this leg here. And if that's the case, then I'm going to be adding some highlight with that in mind. I'm gonna get a bit more precise, and also thinking about the volume of the leg, and basically I'm trying to like think, if the leg is hiked up like that, how will the skirt deform with that in mind? So, and I'm also thinking, should I add a bit of shine to the skirt maybe? I just tend to go for like a leather material or PVC material just because it's a bit more interesting and it requires additional render, but it also gives, um, it just is a bit more interesting. So maybe I can just do a little bit of highlight. Still, still a little highlight here, here, and around this area. One more time. Around here. And after that, we have to adjust. Adjust. So this is where the bulk of my juiciness for the leg will be. So let's focus on that area. Let's add a bit more highlight. Around here. And we'll also add some more intensity in shadow here. I'm going to, let's use warm tone. Oh, that's too much. I just want a dab of it. Let's just take a dab of it here. Oh, might be a bit much. It needs to be very subtle. Just want to make a little subtlety here. I need to adjust the positioning. Yeah, I need to adjust this. Maybe I can use this paint over as a bit of a texture. Let's bring this lower. Bring this, actually no, hold on. Yeah, I think I will this a bit lower. And then I will reduce the opacity. Actually, no, gotta keep it like that. We'll, we'll continue with that. It's a work in progress. We'll just work on the other side a bit. I can add a little seam in the center. And add a little belt. Actually, no, probably maybe around here. Or it could be a big belt. Probably need to extend the highlight over here as well. And need to clean up the silhouette later too. It's a little messy. But I think the skirt is getting there. Alright, I will do a bit more rendering off camera and we will be back. Pop back on the hand. Hey guys, welcome back. Alright, so I did do a bit more work, especially on the face. It changed once again. I did kind of record the process, so went from this to, oh sorry, that's with the effects. Let me remove that. To this version. So yeah, I think I spent probably like another 6 to 8, actually probably like 10 hours. uh, yeah, I wasn't sure that I liked what I had, so I basically just kept working on it for a while. And hopefully this is the last stretch, but I thought I would do another hour of voiceover, which is gonna be on a refining process here. I'm gonna work on this area a bit. But yeah, the face was reworked quite a bit, and yeah, still I am not so sure about the face, despite everything. So this is my effect layer that I wanted to apply to the face. Just having a little bit of more of a blue tint to it, and also I plan to adjust the lighting a bit. But before that, there's a few things that I played around with on the face. It is a few more addition. Bring this down, here we go. I did attempt to switch up the lighting a bit. And also testing out a little bit of a open mouth. But I do want to keep the nose for sure. I'm going to cut the nose paint over that I did. And for sure I'm going to be keeping that. So I'm going to merge down to my face layer. Let's see. That's the old face. This is a slightly more rendered version of the new face I have. So that's how it was before, and this is after. Okay, I'm gonna merge down This is with the mouth open, and then followed by, might be a little too dark. I was adding some shadow into the face. Um, it's more so to do with a bit of change in face lighting, adding just a bit more. Ooh, I'm gonna remove the mouth first. Let me remove the effects. Bring this up. Make it normal layer. This is just a modify adding onto the lighting, so I wanted to see how it would look with let me just adjust my reference on the other screen. Just going back to a slightly different light source on the face, maybe a little bit of a light source coming from the bottom portion, and then as well as this. Okay, let me tone it down. Definitely need a bit of lighting coming from the bottom. And of course, oh gosh, the hair is a little messy. I'm gonna go ahead and try fixing that. I'm gonna take a highlight source. Add more highlight coming from that side. And I'll just try my best to blend the rest of the hair on that side in. Cleaning up the bangs. Also, I find this type of hairstyle a little challenging to paint because it's very symmetrical, and one wrong move and it ends up not looking very good. So also it might end up not looking like the character. Yeah, this is one of the more tricky hairstyles to paint. I need to bring the neck pixels up, merge down, and make the shadow not as intense. And then we are going to go back to the hair layer and continue to add. That's strange. What layer is this? Okay, I'm on the wrong layer. That's why it was, every time my paint was darker. I was on the multiply layer. I'll just spend some time to create hair strand texture all throughout, up and down. Let me go back to this layer. Add highlight. on the side. Gonna grab this color. Um, well, that's why it's weird. It's at 60% opacity. Let's grab a bit of highlight, bring it up. The face is pretty airbrushed out. I didn't kind of used it a bit too much. Let me go ahead do a soft bit of shading around the hair, and then let's take that color. Now I'm just gonna keep it towards the bottom. Let's take that. It's messy. It's messy and I'm not a fan. I think the previous version was better. I can lower it a bit. Let me go ahead take some of these areas. Make them a little brighter. Merge down, bring back the edit. I'm going to rework the hair a bit. Rework the hair, change up the light source a bit. Have a bit more of the lighting coming from each side instead of focusing from the left side. I might end up going back and forth a bit. But yeah, I'm just trying to see like what type of lighting would make the hair volume look more like the character and look better on her as well. Because sometimes, you know, the lighting needs to be changed, switched up, and not really based on the scene in order to make the character look better. Let's do this. Get a pretty emphasized crease or separation for the hair. Take a bit of this color. And we'll do the same. Let's give the hair a bit of texture. I'll just do our best to softly blend this in. And I'll probably do a few layers of this just to really blend the hair in. Because right now, it is still a little rough. So I can lower the opacity, so that would be one layer. And I could keep stacking the layers. Let me add a clear separation here. In the bang area from her back hair. Trying to get a clear shape for her hair bangs, because they're not very clear. And I go back to the hair layer. It's a little messy. Just gonna fix the shape. And I'll go here and make it brighter so that the rest of her hair will stand out a bit more. Maybe I'll give it a bit more volume. Give a bit more volume here. And maybe here too. Or really just to frame the neck a bit better. And I'm just going to do a little bit of a adjusting on the neck shadow. Go back to the hair. Make it a little brighter. I'll blend in the new lighting that I've just added. Merge down. onto this side. I'm just also, while I'm adding on some of these highlights, I'm also looking at the small preview because that's gonna tell me if the highlights are heading towards the right direction. It needs to be very uniform and it should read as texture from afar as well. So I'm just kind of making sure that it's communicating properly. Gonna clean up a bit of the hair so that the ears will show. I'm going to give the hair strand a bit of a curl tip. Hmm. I should probably add a bit more highlight in the whites of the eyes. And the eyes is tricky because sometimes if you change even the slightest thing, it's not the same anymore. Remove that. Go back. Okay. Yeah, so it's the expression. The lighting also influences the whole look of the character's face. So since I'm doing a slightly different lighting, it changes the whole atmosphere of the face. And and it becomes a little hard to tell. Mm, let me add a bit of shadow in those specific areas. And I'm just going to kind of fix some of these areas. Okay. Maybe add a bit more highlight here, and gonna use a very warm highlight for the lips. I mean, not highlight, but a warm shadow for the crease of the lips. I'm going on the opposite side. I think maybe her jawline's a little masculine. Might need to be adjusted, or just need to add some shadow. Let's go in this area. Just trying to see real quick how it would look with a slightly different shading, and I don't think it's working very well. I'm trying to see how it will look with lighting towards this side of the face. Just gonna test it out real quick. What is that? Oh god. I painted some of the shading on right on the hair layer. What if this side was darker? And this side was a little brighter. Just kind of complete a change of the shading for her face. Go back to that, and we are going to darken this side of the nose. This is just a rough estimate of how it's gonna look like. So if the lighting was reversed, I was on that side instead. Let me pop back on the edit. Okay. I might have to revisit the lighting. But yeah, I just did a quick little bit of a opposite. Oh, actually, I have an idea. What if I just simply flipped her face? Let's do that. I just want to see how that looks. Let's go ahead and do a little flip horizontal. There we go. So now the shadows on that. Ooh, okay. Hey, I think that works. Might need to fix it up a little bit. Just having the lighting on this side, it adds a certain contrast. I like it. I might do that. So I'll probably handle this off camera, but just know I struggle a lot in the face, and it's a lot of this going on every single time. You know, sometimes it doesn't. Ooh, look at that intensity. Yeah, sometimes it just doesn't work out. Like, you just have a gut feeling it's not there yet. So, guess flipping the lighting sometimes could help. I mean, only if, you know, you're painting like a frontal view, it's a little easier, but yeah, gotta do a little flip back and forth sometimes. Okay, now that I did that, so there's really nothing that really touches the face from this um editing layer except this part right here, this lighting. So I'll just cut that part and just put it in there, put in the head group, and I'm gonna basically uh, basically apply the effect throughout the character now. So I don't think I need to change the glasses per se, but definitely the arm needs to be applied. So I just pop all that effect in there and merge down, and I'll be doing this to every part of her parts. And probably clean up while I'm at it as well. But hey, I'm fairly excited for this option of having her head lighting flipped. Kinda like that. And since it's flipped, I can even play up the contrast a bit by adding an additional intense lighting right over here where the shadow is. Um, don't know if that'll actually work out, but I just want to do a real quick test. I suppose it could work, just needs a bit of work adjusting to the character and stuff. Maybe it could be something like this. That looks kind of weird. I'll see. And we'll have to play around with that a bit. Welcome back, guys. So I end up working on the face just a little bit to clean it up. So I think I'm okay with it. Could be better. You know that feeling you get when you just think, yes, I got it. This is exactly what I wanted. Still not there for me for this piece, but it's getting there. So yeah, I spent probably like an hour and a half on just cleaning up the face. There wasn't too much to do, just kind of correcting a few areas and stuff. Um, so this was before, and then I improved, well, actually I kind of like the blurred version a little better, but I did try to clean it up a little. Um, yeah, now I'm rethinking it. Maybe I should go back to that version. And I did duplicate this layer, I mean this whole group, the head group, so that I still have my old layers to work from. So this was the old layer. And maybe, I could maybe grab this side real quick. And I'm gonna go back to my new group and I'm just going to paste it there. Kind of looks a little weird, but I just wanted to have it for this side of the face. And I want to try something, so see how this looks out, out of curiosity and stuff. That looks kind of weird. Maybe if I brought this eye over a bit, made it a little bigger. I'll just lower the opacity a bit. Merge down. Let me go ahead, do a little bit of this. I thought I was going to discover something by doing that, but well, it didn't really have the impact that I was hoping for. Sometimes, you'll end up with some interesting results. Sometimes it just ends very anticlimactically. Yeah, this is one of those times. Sometimes playing with your old layers and merging them gives better results. But anyhow, this is the edit I did on the face. I had this idea of giving it a little bit more intensity, especially on the side of her face. Doing a little bit of a contrast, having some general lighting over here, but having a really intense lighting on that side. But yeah, I'm also, not too sure about it. It's just something is still missing, but for this portion of the voiceover, I'm thinking of just doing this part and call it. I'm going to be working on the torso. Also before that, I think I will be resizing the head, making her head a little bigger. Okay, after that, going back to my lighting adjustment group. So this is like a bunch of filters I put, and I think what I'll do for this is I'm just going to do a general paint over of what I want. And I'm gonna go with the theme that, going for the theme that this side I'm gonna keep it warm tone, and this side will be cool tone, so I can get, so we could get like a nice balance, blue and warm tone. So I'm gonna test it out. I already did the edit for it. I'm gonna render her out with that in mind, and if everything goes right, I will be happy with the results. And trying to keep the suit crisp and sharp. As well as on the chest portion. Let's go here. I did add a tiny bit of element to her top. I wanted her to wear a little bit of a leopard print, just for fun. Really trying to sell that cougar vibe. And gonna add a bit more of this tone on this side here, a little bit on the bra as well. And while I'm at it, I will just clean these parts up. I would like to incorporate a little bit more blue. Really gonna sell that blue vibe. I'm going to take the pixel I have taken there and dial it up on the blue scale. And while I'm doing it, I have to look back and forth at the small preview because sometimes might be a bit too much. Get a bit more blue. Get a bit of this warm tone. Warm tone is gonna go towards the bottom area of the bra. Add a tiny bit around that part. And gonna take, let's see here. Let's take more the warm tone, and we will bring it on the rest of the suit. Just going to make the rendering soft. Let's go ahead, bring a bit more blue into there. Add a bit of the hair color on the lapels. This calls for a lot of subtlety. And around here, let's pour a bit of that blue tone and just add it in subtly, not too intensely. Just want just want a hint of that shadow. Go back here. Gonna add a bit of shadow there. There is quite a bit of shadow here, which is okay. I'll go back to here. I did emphasize on the shadow here quite a bit. There's a very big chunk of contrast. So I'm just going to blend that in. Really emphasize on the posture of the sleeve too. I'm gonna grab a bit of this. That might be a bit too sharp. I need to ease it in. I'll just do this type of pattern on the sleeve for now. Take a bit of that. Darken this up a bit. Really need to hit a high contrast for the shoulder around that area. Take a bit of blue. Just going to incorporate it into the shadow. Might be a bit too soft. Just add some wrinkled details. Take the blue once again. Need to emphasize it a bit. It's maybe I can add it right here at the edge of the shadow here. And then we're getting back to the warm tone highlight. Around here. I'm just going to bring down the highlight. It's a little bit soft in terms of shading. And let's I suppose I want to test out how it would look if I use blue as rim light for that side. Well, it looks okay. Okay, if I do that, that means the skirt will probably need to be in similar tones, so gotta change it back to blue. Just gonna do a rough job with it. And as for down here, we're gonna go with the warm tones, so this part I'm going to see how much I have to push it in terms of color change. Does it need to be darker? So after the base is done, I think what I'll do is Just going to softly add a bit more highlight to that side. And this part is going to be a very visibly bluing tone. It might be a bit too dark, too bright, so I'll tone the blue down. So this piece is turning out to be a little bit more atmospheric. And usually I focus, refine on the colors after, nearing the middle or the end of a piece process. Because sometimes, you know, when I'm just trying to establish the piece, it's very hard to visualize what, the nuances in tone that I want to do. But after, you know, we get a good amount of detail, and then I focus a lot more on the actual color tones of the character a little better to make it look better and more balanced. This belt looking real messy. Okay, so we get this part. I think this part could be like a bit darker and a bit more yellow or beige. Let's go with this, and then let's do a little color balance. Add more warmth to that side. So slowly I am creating a color palette. Well, I feel like this part could use a bit of texture. I want to test out something. Let's make that part brighter. Okay. I'll go with that. Not really happy with it, but okay. I think, so this is the new edit, and I think it's a lot more balanced. If we do like a little before and after, that's what we have. Oh, hold on. And, you know, sometimes you could be kind of ruining some areas. In this case, I kind of like that part right there. Make it a little more intense. So I'm gonna keep that. Can just bring it there. But the rest is looking better, so I'm gonna roll with that basically. And just kind of looking back and forth a little bit. It's this, okay. I'm going to bring this up. And add a bit of intensity there. I'm just trying to figure some stuff out. Let's delete that part. Okay, I think we'll go with that. And maybe I can do a little bit of a contrast. Hold on. This part still needs some work. Maybe I use this to blur it out a bit, but this part needs something. Maybe I'll bring this over so that it's sharper. Now I'm just trying to figure out the placement and then try my best to blend this part. Let's do this. Add a bit of highlight here. Oh, actually no, that's not a good idea. Okay, let's bring the highlight towards the bottom area first. And then I will add back in a bit more shadow like that. Trying to experiment here a little bit. What if I brought the highlight inward a bit and then bring back the shadow in like that. And I'll just do a seam here. Or even seam back here like it was before. Take this color, highlight the bottom. If I do that, then how would it look if I... Sorry. Yeah, bringing down the highlight down here. Interesting, interesting. Maybe yeah, just leave it like that. And then I'll use the blue as accent skin tone. Do a little before and after. Hmm. Um, it's not as good as I thought it would be. So maybe I can just keep a little bit of it. Delete. So I'll just keep this bit. And I'll also accent this with a bit of brightness. Bright tone like that. Just really emphasize on the curves. Okay, so I think it's getting there. Add a bit of highlights on this part of the collar. There. Hmm. I think that's pretty much it. So now comes the very tedious process of merging everything down, but I'll do that off camera, but it's the same process. You copy all the layers and one by one you merge down all the effects to each of the layers, which takes time. But yeah, I'm just like still thinking about that head layer. Hmm. This is probably the 5th version. I've done a few versions already, and probably gonna take a couple more, and this is my attempt at a final level of rendering. But yeah, I think probably gonna spend maybe one more day on this. Hopefully not. I really want to finish this. Anyways, I will see you guys in the next voiceover. Yep. It's gonna be a lot of back and forth and stuff. Alright. You guys take care and have a great day or night, guys.